Hi, I'm Woody, and welcome to my world. As I was driving in this morning, I was listening to a promotion for the Mike Tirico show on the ESPN radio, and he obviously had taped it for the local station, and he said, "Is Mike Shanahan the best coach in the National Football League? We'll talk about it on my show today." I think he probably taped that months ago because nobody would say that today, given what has happened in New England and given that the Indianapolis Colts are the defending champions and probably will be back at least in the AFC Championship game. And you can go around the league. So is Mike Shanahan the best coach in the league? Not right now. His offense, unfortunately, and Mark Kisley and I both have written about this, seems stale, seems old, seems out of the 1990s when he was winning world championships. And I am disappointed in Mike Shanahan, who I felt strongly about and gotten close to over the years, that when he was at San Francisco as the offensive coordinator and working with Steve Young and they won the Super Bowl, he was telling me at that point at the Super Bowl that he really liked to call the same kind of plays on his own 15-yard line that he would call on the other team's 15-yard line. Well, those plays are not working out at either 15-yard line. They don't know how to score in the red zone. They don't know how to get out of their own territory. I think it's imperative for Mike, and he's not going anywhere, and people here would not, as I said, call him the best coach in the NFL right now. But I think he really needs to take a strong look at his playbook, which is one of the biggest in the NFL, over the offseason and make some serious changes. Take advantage of what Cutler can do best, whether or not that is as an option occasional quarterback as we saw this year, and get the tight ends involved, particularly Daniel Graham, some more this coming season. And he's got to maybe shift some of the he should shift some of the burden of bringing in personnel to other people. And if that's not working out, you bring in somebody, as the Miami Dolphins did, Bill Parcells, to work with him, and you won't find a Parcells, but bring in a personnel guy, as Parcells did, to be his general manager in Miami, and shake things up. This is not working. After the past 2 years, the Broncos do not look like a team that will get back to the Super Bowl anytime now. If there's not pressure right now, there must be pressure applied by me, by Mark Kisley that we talked about, by the fans, by the other media in Denver, although the media in Denver generally stays away from criticizing Mike Shanahan. But he's been given a pass long enough. It's time for Mike Shanahan to step up, and I think that starts with changing his playbook during the offseason and including the kind of things that we used to see. And I'll give you a prime example. He came out and was the first in the NFL to do this with 5 wide receivers in an empty backfield. That was a very successful play for 2 or 3 years. That's the kind of thinking he's got to get back to with what he was doing. I'm not talking about John Elway, but what he was doing when John Elway was here. Some of the things he was doing with Jake Plummer were successful. I believe it's critical, before they start anything else, that Mike Shanahan, who looks and studies films all the time, look and study your on film, Mike. Look at what you did offensively, particularly in the red zone. It was ineffective all year long. And stop being so hard-headed. We saw that in the Chicago game and the way they kicked to Hester. I think it does start at the top, and it's got to start at the top in the offseason, that Mike Shanahan has got to change his playbook. Let's see the Broncos get back to a team that scored 40 points a game, that wasn't held under 20 points in more than one game a season. That's not what we're seeing any longer. And I'm not talking about John Elway. I'm talking about, if you look at Mike Shanahan's teams in the early part of this decade, they were still doing that. So, Mike, I hope you're watching. You have got to look at your playbook, throw it on the fire, start over again. I'm Woody Page. I'll see you in the sports pages.